What is exposure compensation in photography? Now, if you've been looking around the body of your DSLR, then you may have seen this symbol, or you may actually see this symbol within your viewfinder. Now, what is this symbol for? Well, basically, this means your exposure compensation mode. But what is exposure compensation? Well, basically, exposure compensation allows you to either increase the brightness of your image or decrease the brightness of your image. Now, the exposure compensation mode works in stops. So basically what you have is you will have 1 stop up to 5 stops. And the thing is, you can have a negative stop and you can have a positive stop. So let's have a look of this in more detail then. So okay, here we have a perfectly exposed image. This is what the camera recommended that, you know, we take the photo, and we did, and it looks perfect, doesn't it? It looks perfect. But because we're photographers, and not only because we're photographers, but sometimes the camera gets it wrong, then we can also, you know, if we want, increase the brightness of our photograph or decrease the brightness of our photograph. And one of the ways we can do that is through stops. So let's have a look at the demo photograph. Here's the demo photograph, and now what we're going to do is we are going to use a positive stop in order to brighten that photograph. So I'm going to dial into my camera +2 of an exposure value, and that means go up by 2 stops, and then when we take the photo we see this, and as you can see, the image is more brighter, it's twice as bright as what it was before. So let's go back to the normal looking photograph. As you can see, it looks perfect. This time what we're going to do is we're going to dial in -2 stops, a negative of 2 stops, and this means we're going to let in twice as less light. So I'll have a look at the photograph now, and as you can see, we've let in twice as less light. And again, that's how the exposure values work. Exposure compensation will either let you increase your image or to allow you to decrease the brightness of your image. So let's move on and have a look at another example. This time we're going to go to the maximum of 5 stops. So again, here's the normal photograph. Now we're going to brighten the image by 5 stops. Here we go. As you can see, it looks practically overexposed because we're letting in 5 times as much light. Let's go back to the normal photograph. Now this time we're going to let in a -5, a -5. And as you can see, it looks pretty much dark. And that is because we have let in 5 times less light. So now you understand about exposure compensation is that you can either increase up by 5 stops or you can decrease the brightness by 5 stops. So there you go, guys. That is basically what you need to know about exposure compensation in photography.